Insurance Agency. We specialize in home, auto, commercial, ATV, motorcycle, and boat insurance. Being an independent agency, we have the ability to find you the best price available to suit your insurance need. At Parker Insurance and Realty, we can help you package your insurance or find the specialty insurance required to get you covered. We are your source for any real estate needs, whether buying or selling. We can help you. Give us a call today so we can discuss your insurance or real estate needs. Parker Insurance and Realty, 265 South Macon Street, 427-9345. That's 427-9345.
If you're looking for the best looking truck on the road today, stop the search and come to Mike Butch Ford in Blackshear. Drive, push, tow, or haul your trade, and we'll give you top money for it. We will give you $10,000 off on selected new 2015 Ford F-150s at Mike Butch Ford. Or save you thousands at 0% interest for 60 months. 2015 Ford F-150s, save up to $10,000 or finance at 0% for 60 months. Come to the house Good Service Built. Buy a new Ford and get free oil and filter changes during your 36,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty. Jimmy Rozier, Joey Lee, Gerald Stone, Bart Duncan, Tracy Ross, or Randy Williamson are ready to help you. Remember, $10,000 off for 0% for 60 months on selected 2015 Ford F-150s. This is Santa Dixon saying thank you. Thank you very much for your business. Stop the search and come to Mike Butch Ford or go to MikeButchFord.com and shop till you drop.
When you have an accident, you, not the insurance company, chooses the body shop, and you only need one estimate. All you have to do is call Jerome Riles at B&C Collision Center in downtown Scriven to deal with the adjusters and insurance company. Whether it's a little ding or a major crash, that B&C Collision Center across from Rosin Cabinet Shop in Scriven, deal with the insurance company so you don't have to. Call them at 579-2274. That's 579-2274.
And good morning. You're listening to the Big Dog, WIFO-FM in Jessup, 105.5 on your FM dial. Butch Everett here with you. Monday morning. We're in November now, November 2nd. And, of course, we've got standard time back. So we had that sunshine this morning, which I kind of like this morning because I was able to walk my dogs and not have to have the flashlight out there. But I know I won't like it this afternoon. When I get home, it'll be dark. All right, the time now is, let's see here, 8:02, and we have... I'm trying to find the temperature. Here we go. 71 degrees here in southeast Georgia. We're looking for a high today of around 90. Variable cloudiness today with a 40% chance of showers. So it doesn't feel like November, Bob, does it? 90 degrees out there today?
Feels pretty good.
You like 90 degrees in November?
I do. I'm not complaining.
Oh, you're not complaining at all?
I don't like cold weather.
Oh, you don't like cold weather.
So as long as it stays warm, it's better for me.
Okay. All right. So what did you think when you...
I like playing golf in January.
Oh, you like playing golf in January?
In shorts.
When you moved from Pittsburgh down to Atlanta back when you were in high school, did you notice a big weather change there? Did you enjoy the winters better down here?
Exactly.
Okay.
I have to shovel snow. I don't miss snow at all.
Yeah, I know you don't miss snow.
I don't miss it at all.
All right.
I like the warm weather.
Well, I've got neighbors that retired, and they have a house up somewhere in the Northeast Connecticut area. I can't remember which state it is, but they just got back, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, and they were going up there during the summer, and now they'll be back here for the winter. Now, I think that would be a good thing to do, to be able to go away when it's so hot and muggy, and then come back when it's so cold and snowy up north, right?
A lot of people do. They call them snowbirds down there.
Snowbirds, okay.
Now down in Florida.
All right, you're listening to the world-famous Butch and Bob Show here on the Big Dog, brought to you by Mike Butch Ford in Blackshear, B&C Collision Center in Scriven, and brought to you by Jessup Premium Storage out here on the Waycross Highway, and by Parker Insurance and Realty located on Macon Street in downtown Jessup. So my question to Coach Mark Rick this morning would be, how's that third-string quarterback working out for you?
The sad thing after the game, they asked what he's going to do now. They said, I don't know. So I'm just in a foul mood. I've been in a foul mood all weekend. I don't understand it. He's never explained why they made the switch. And, after halftime, I thought for sure they'd go back and say that experiment didn't work. But they didn't. They just, I watched that whole game. And what I watched Mark Rick on the sidelines. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what other people saw, but I saw Coach was just totally disengaged in the entire process. They kept having meetings, huddles with players, on the sidelines. Mm-hmm. He's not even involved in it. He just stood off to the side like he could care less. I don't know what's going on with Coach Rick right now. I don't know if he doesn't care to be there, or I know he's taking a lot of heat, but, you got to explain yourself. I still don't understand, I know they didn't score a touchdown in the Missouri game, but they still won the game.
Right.
The Tennessee game was on the defense. They blew a 24-3 lead, plus Reggie Davis. If he wants to start benching somebody, let's start with Reggie Davis. He drops a wide-open touchdown pass in Tennessee. He fields a punt inside his 5-yard line and fumbles the ball, which is a cardinal sin. You don't field a punt inside the 10-yard.
Yeah, inside the 10.
And then the only pass that Bonta threw decent, Reggie Davis dropped that. So if you want to start with benching somebody, let's start with Reggie Davis.
Yeah.
Not Grayson Lambert, who was 64% completion percentage, got 7 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Bonta beat that in one game. He's got 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for coming.
I just don't understand why you put a kid in that position.
And everybody asked that. He takes a kid who hasn't thrown a pass in 3 years at Georgia into the biggest game and put him on that stage. Like I said, it was like throwing him to the Sharks. And he had no explanation after the game. I mean, he got bombarded with question after question. He couldn't explain what they did. Oh, we're looking for a spark. He's a run. They said he was a running quarterback. He never ran one time.
He didn't run one time.
And the first play of the game, they really gave him confidence. It was a shotgun to the Wildcats, Tony Michel. So, you're starting a quarterback. We got faith in you, but the first play, we don't want you. We want to snap it straight to our running back, Tony Michel. It's absurd. People are calling for his head, though. I mean, several articles, AJC, Mark Bradley said he needs to go. Everybody said he needs to go. I don't know if he needs to go or not, but I just like to know what's going through his mind and why he's so disengaged and so he looks disinterested in the entire process. I mean, I can't figure out what's going on with him.
I don't know.
I've always liked Mark Reed.
Well, he's been there 15 years.
Like they keep looking at his record the last 10 years against top 25 teams, not very good. We lost the big games for sure, but like I said, he always has the top recruiting class. He always handles himself a class, but he just looks like he's just disengaged in the last couple. I mean, he definitely disengaged Saturday. I mean, he wasn't involved in anything going on Saturday on the sidelines. And I thought for sure that after halftime, they'd say, look, this experiment's not working. Let's go back and at least get a chance to win the game. But they never would do it, never would pull the trigger. So I don't understand it. I mean, you can see watching Bonta and Ramsey why they went and got a quarterback. Like I said before, I use that analogy. If you got everything in your kitchen and cook the meal, you don't have to go to the grocery store. But if you're missing something, you got to go to the grocery store. Georgia was missing somebody who could throw the ball downfield. They went and got a pro-style quarterback, somebody with some experience in Grayson Lambert. And like I said, looking at the stats, they had him in the Florida-Georgia program, 64% completion percentage, thrown for over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Should have 10 touchdowns because Reggie Davis dropped a wide open touchdown pass on a beautiful. That's the prettiest pass Grayson's thrown all year. Steps in the pocket, throws it 65 yards down the field, right in his guts, and he dropped the ball. If he catches that ball, he's like I said
against
Tennessee. So it just looked like a panic move. I don't understand. 2 days before the biggest game of the year, we switch quarterbacks and go to a third. And what's Ramsey thinking? That was my thought process. If you're going to change quarterbacks, why not go to second string quarterback? We're going down to third string quarterback, a guy who's never thrown a pass in a collegiate game. What are we doing?
I have no idea.
And we still have not heard any. Forget that. We listened to the post game show. They're not going to ask him any tough questions. They're throwing him softball questions.
Oh, they were?
Yeah. I mean, ask him the question that needs to be asked. Why would you change quarterbacks in the biggest game of the year, and why would you put a kid out there who's never thrown a collegiate pass in his life? Explain that to me, Coach Rick. I want to hear that answer. And
especially after the first couple of interceptions.
That's the question yet. It's just frustrating. The offensive line is pathetic. We can't run a lick. I mean, it's just unbelievable. That shows how good Nick Chubb was. Nick Chubb made that offensive line look good because Sonny Michel and Marshall can't find any running room at all.
No holes at all.
I mean, they throwed up the rushing stats at halftime. I think we had 12 yards rushing. I mean, we just can't run the ball.
Yeah,
defense played lights out,
Yep.
But like I said, Reggie Davis fumbles the ball inside the 5. What is that? They teach midget kids in rec league. You don't field a punt inside the 10-yard line. You get away from it. So, just very frustrating.
Yeah. Reading one of the sports writers for the AJC, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and he said there's a lot of frustration in the Bulldog Nation. Here you got a coach who comes into Florida, his very first year, says that, well, he didn't have a whole bunch of talent there when he got there, but he's trying to do with what he's got. Then you've got a coach who's been coaching for 15 years in the SEC, top recruiting class year after year after year, and you get beat by a rookie coach who, just basically just outcoached you. So I don't know, Bob. Most people like Coach Rick, but perhaps maybe it's time for a change. But when we say time for a change, who are you going to get?
Well, that's the problem. It's easy to get rid of somebody, but I'm not worried about getting rid of him, not getting rid of him. My question is, does he want to be there? He just looked like he didn't. He looked like a coach who did not want to be where he was at. He looks like he wants to bail. He looks like Spurrier. He's ready to go.
Yeah, just walk out. He's like Spurrier.
He just looked disengaged. I mean, he was not involved. I mean, they'd have huddles on the sidelines with the players, talking strategy. And where's my head coach? He's over there 10 yards down the sidelines, not even in the huddle, not even this. I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on.
There's something going on up there, and sooner or later we'll find out what's behind the scenes.
Something's going on, something behind the scenes that we don't know about, but it's just not. The funniest question was, what are you going to do now, Coach? Where do we go now? Who's quarterbacking against Kentucky? And the answer was, we have no idea.
No idea.
We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, Kentucky will be at home this coming Saturday in Athens against the Kentucky Wildcats this coming Saturday. So we'll see what happens with the Bulldogs.
Be interested who the quarterback is.
Yeah, who's going to be?
That's the $64,000 question, because that was the question asked in the press conference, and the answer was, we don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know what they're going to do. Okay. I really thought they were going to go back to Grayson at halftime. I mean, after they saw what,
wasn't working.
Okay, you're frustrated with the offense. You want to make a change. You're looking for a spark. But after you watch that first half, I mean, how you sit there and let that boy go? I felt sorry for the kid.
And what do you think Ramsey and Grayson Lambert are thinking on the sidelines there? We're better than this guy, and you can't go up there and just go in the coach's face and say, you got to put me in, coach. Look what's happening. I mean, what's the offensive coordinator saying all during this?
Offensive coordinator's not happy, I'm telling you. That's not his man. I know who his man is. He went and got him. And I said from the get-go that Schottenheimer was able to make that decision. Rick wasn't on board from day one. He's still not on board from day one. He wasn't on board with Grayson coming out of high school, and I don't know why they let him sign if he wasn't his man, but he's yet to give that. The thing that disappoints me the most about Coach Rick, he's a former quarterback. He's yet to give Grayson any praise, anything, confidence at all. What he should have done is he'd have walked in that press conference Tuesday and said, look here, Bulldog Nation, Grayson Lambert's our quarterback. Get behind him, support him 110%. He's not the problem. The offensive line's not blocking. The receivers are dropping balls. We got a total team problem. We're going to correct it. But Grayson Lambert's a quarterback. Going down to Georgia-Florida game. We're going to win that game. We still control our destiny. We still win the SEC East. Go to Atlanta. That's what he should have said. He's yet to say it. Has not supported the kid since he's been there. Hasn't said anything good about him because he's not on board with this decision. He let Schottenheimer make the decision. That's my personal opinion. That's what I truly believe. And it'll come out eventually. Because Schottenheimer and Rick just don't even look like they're on the same page.
Wow. Well, yeah, so hopefully things can get smooth over. It looks like where the athletic director is going to have to step in and have we're going to meet behind the barn meeting there with a switch and say, all right, guys, I'm getting the heat from all these alumni out there, and y'all better get it together. Or y'all going to be gone.
The thing is, we've been through this before, though. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago when Georgia had a bad year.
Yeah, we did.
Same thing happened. People were calling for Rick's job. I remember Fred Tarkenton was in the AJC saying Rick needs to go, but he survived that. But my question is, does he really want to be doing what he's doing?
He survived that, but he still hasn't looked at his record since then against top 10 teams.
Right.
Yeah, it's dismal, absolutely dismal when you have such recruiting classes like that.
I was trying to remember when it was last time we won a big game.
It wasn't. I mean, one that there's just
can't remember. it's just been disappointment after disappointment in big time games, going all the way back to the SEC championship game when we lost to Alabama. That was the frustrating game where we had a chance to win that game. It was within 5 yards of winning that game.
I know, 5 yards. If we would have won the national championship that year, we'd have beat Notre Dame.
But this year, when you get the schedule, I said the first game you circled was the Alabama game. That was the biggest game of the year, and we just got totally manhandled by Alabama.
Yep, we did.
We went to Tennessee, laid an egg. Like I said, blew a 24-3 lead, lost Nick Chubb for the year, which was a big blow. But still had a chance in that game Saturday. Why they switched quarterbacks and went to a third, that's what I don't understand. I'd like to know that explanation. If you're going to switch quarterbacks, why not go to the second string quarterback? Why are we going to the third string quarterback who's never thrown a pass in the game?
Don't know. Well, we got 4 games left for the Bulldogs, dude. They'll be at home against Kentucky this Saturday. The following week will be at Auburn, and then at home against the Georgia Southern Eagles, and then on the road at Georgia Tech to finish out the regular season. Going back to Friday night, we were in the game, just couldn't quite score enough points to beat Burke at Wayne County High School versus Burke on Friday night.
Had to leave at halftime, felt good about it. That play, I wish they had this replay in high school because I'd like to see that, what they call the catch on that sideline. That was just a desperation pass, and that was a key play of the game because if that's an incomplete pass, we're getting the ball back with about 5 minutes to go, have a chance to win the game. But they called it completion, so got to live with it, and then they were able to run out the clock and get out of there with a 15-10 lead. So we know where we're going in 2 weeks. We're going to Mary Persons to take on the Bulldogs at Mary Persons High School.
Okay. Where is that?
Forsyth, Georgia.
Forsyth. Well, at least it's just in the middle of the state, and you have to go all the way to Atlanta area. Okay. All right, and so that's it. But we have off this week. There's a lot of teams that are still playing regular games this Friday night. Just the way our season worked out, starting early, we'll have off this Friday night and get 2 weeks to prepare for the first state playoff game.
If you look for a great high school game to go watch, Colquitt at Camden this Friday.
This Friday, going to be at Camden?
At Camden.
Did Colquitt win Friday night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Colquitt's undefeated.
Still undefeated, all right. My dad was asking me that on Saturday, and I said, I don't know. I'll find out and call you back, and you just forgot about it.
That's true.
All right, so yeah, Colquitt at Camden ought to be a great game down there. So if folks want to see a good game Friday night, head on down to Kingsland, St. Mary's, and watch that game. I'm sure there'll be a packed house there.
I got who Colquitt. I'm trying to find my high school sports.
All right.
Camden beat Lee County 17-13.
Okay. And then I heard you say that Valdosta beat Lyons County? Yeah. Jonathan, is that screen supposed to look like this?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, you're still looking for it there? All right. And then Georgia Tech, they played this past weekend at Virginia. What did you think of that game?
I can't understand Tech. I mean, they're just a mystery to me. They beat Florida State and lose to people they're not supposed to lose to, so. Colquitt beat Tift 41-33.
Okay, 41-33.
And Valdosta beat Lyons 17-7.
Okay. All right. So, and then of course this past Thursday night, Georgia Southern won, and they'll be their next game is not until November 14th, and they'll be at Troy. So Southern has off this week, and then heading November 14th out to Troy.
Got this disturbing story Friday from John Carter, some new drug called, I asked him how to pronounce it Friday night, it's called Flakka, Flakka. But again, 6 people transported to the hospital this past Friday due to an overdose of the drug. And they say it's a very dangerous drug. Excuse me. Has several side effects. Drug can cause liver damage, high temperatures, brain damage, also death. So again, be aware of that. It's called Flakka.
Don't mess with it, folks.
Yeah, very dangerous drug. So
I mean, it's just might as well just get Drano and put you down or something. That's bad stuff right there. We do have some comments coming in on our text line. If you have questions or comments here for us on the Butch and Bob Show, or anytime during the day or night, you can text them in at 912-427-3711. And it says, Mark Rick never had the fire that's needed to spark the dogs. Too laid back. What do you think about that comment, Bob?
Well, that's always, that's his demeanor. People said that he's just too nice of a guy. It was funny. Paul Feinbaum's got a show on every afternoon, and a lady from Atlanta called up and said that, I don't know if you saw before the what game was the Missouri game when Morgan missed the first field goal and he had to kick the second field goal, and Mark Richt goes up and whispers something into his ear. So they asked him after the game, "What did you tell him?" And Mark Richt says, "I told him I loved him no matter if he made it or not made it." And the lady from Atlanta called up Paul Finebaum and says, "That's his problem." Nick Saban would have told the kid, "If you miss that field goal, I'm going to take away your scholarship and you're off the team." She said, "Mark Richt's just too nice of a guy." So.
Yeah, and the next comment here from someone is about Mark Richt. Coach Mark Richt is like Bobby Cox.
Yes.
He can only get us so far. Great guy. It's time to go.
I said though, who are you going to get? And it's easy to get rid of somebody. I said he's got the best recruiting class coming in. So everybody's excited about that. But that's the story with Georgia every year. Every year you hear about these great recruits. Every year you see people go to the NFL. I mean, you look at NFL rosters. I mean,
a lot of Georgia guys.
There's Georgia players everywhere. I mean, everywhere you turn, every team you see, University of Georgia players starting on the NFL field. So the talent's been there. That's what people are frustrated with. We've had opportunities. We just can't seem to win that big game. We always seem to lose a game we're not supposed to lose to. So yeah, that's the problem.
Somebody just texted in total early votes 180. I think you had 170 something.
Yeah.
Okay, so somewhere along here, folks. Somewhere around 180 on the early votes for the election tomorrow for those 2 seats in city council here in Jessup.
It's still not a lot.
No, it's not a lot. No, it's not a lot.
Not a lot of people voting.
No.
Yeah.
And then another comment that just came in, it says, "Go Royals." So we got a Kansas City fan out there.
It took them 30 years, but I guess they're happy.
I'm sure they're happy. Yeah, Kansas City Royals, world champs. 4-1. Mets only won 1 game.
Right.
You should have won last night. You let it get away.
Let it get away.
So
Kansas City just, when they start hitting the baseball, they just roll. They took a 2-2 lead and turned into a 7-2 win. So.
All right, another comment just texted to us. Great recruiting classes, so it has to be coaching. HAS capitalized. So those are the kind of comments and comments that you're seeing throughout the Bulldog Nation, and you usually see that when you come in. You've got predicted to be in the top 10 to win the SEC East. You got a coach that's been there a long time. You've had top recruiting classes, and things just fall apart. It's not like we win the season and say, well, this is going to be one of them rebuilding years. This is going to be one of those years that we're supposed to win the SEC East and perhaps get to top bowl or even to the top 4.
Well, just remember one thing, though. Losing Nick Chubb was a huge loss.
Yeah, it was a huge loss.
Huge loss. I mean, he is the star player of that team.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like my Steelers losing Le'Veon Bell yesterday to a knee injury. So it just got worse over the weekend. Not only did Georgia lose, Wayne County lost, and I watched my Steelers, and Le'Veon Bell gets out. He's gone for the year.
He's gone for the year. It's a bad weekend for you, Bob, wasn't it?
It was just a bad weekend. Plus fighting this. But
yeah.
It's been a miserable weekend.
Okay, another question here text into us is, how many years left on Rick's contract?
I'm not sure. I think they just gave an extension. The thing is the buyout clause, but I don't think it'll come to that. As I said, I just think they're asking for just a parting of the ways. My question is, I'd like to know if this Mark Richt really want to be there. I mean, I'm just telling you.
Does he really
it just seems like there's something going on that we don't know about behind the scenes. I don't know if he's got other issues going on.
Well, we've always said that he's been so involved in his Christian walk and activities that that seems to be where his passion is.
The Miami job is open. If they called him, they interested in him coming back to his alma mater. I just don't know what's going on. But the one thing I watched all day Saturday was his actions on the sidelines, and he just looked like he was totally disengaged, disinterested in being there. I didn't see a coach.
You didn't see a coach fired up, trying to get things
I didn't see a coach coaching. I didn't see a coach involved. I didn't see a coach calling. I mean, I didn't see him engaged at all. And I was going, what is he doing?
Yeah, he's got enough money if he wants to go in missionary work and he wants to do Christian work. That's fantastic. That's the best walk that he could do, if that's what he really wants to do and not coach, and turn the reins over to someone else. But if he still wants to coach, you don't act like you're interested, and be a fired up coach that's going to lead the Bulldogs on to victory.
How about some answers?
And some answers too. Answer some questions.
How about the explanation? Explain
yourself.
What were you thinking?
What were you thinking?
Why did you?
What were you thinking?
And I watched all those national shows Saturday night. That's what they kept asking. What was he thinking? How can you take a kid who's not thrown a pass on 3 years on a collegiate team and throw him into that atmosphere in that game? They said it was like throwing him to the Sharks.
Wouldn't you think he would just make that decision to his offensive coordinator? Say, listen, you pick the quarterback. You're the one. This is your show. I don't know, but once again, if you got questions or comments for Bob or me or anybody here at the station that you want to have comments or questions on, 427-3711, 912-427-3711. You got to text them. Text them in at 912-427-3711. Well, you've got a county council meeting to go to tonight, right?
County meeting tonight. We'll find out what the situation is with our county attorney. But saw him Saturday. He pretty much told me he's retiring from his position. So just left an envelope with the chairman. So it'll be open tonight, and we'll find out. Just don't know what the situation is. Don't know if he's staying to the end of the month, end of the year, leaving immediately. But again, it's been in the works for 3 weeks. Been a push to get him out. So it's kind of like, I don't need it. I'll see y'all later. So that's basically what's taking place tonight. But they'll be looking for a new attorney.
Okay, we just got a comment in from one of our Pierce County listeners down there toward Patterson and Blackshear. It says, if you don't want to drive down Friday night to Camden to watch the Camden Colquitt game, come on over to Blackshear and watch the Pierce County offense, who is averaging over 40 points a game.
The defense is giving up 80 points a game. They lost to Appleton 55-42, and they just lost this past week to Dodge. Let's see how many points they gave to Dodge this week.
Okay, so Pierce County is scoring a lot of points, over average 40 per game, but their defense is kind of poor. So, Bob?
Peanuts, pies, and politics. I asked a Pierce County fan, what in the world's going on with your defense? He said, we have no defense.
Okay.
He said they can't tackle, they can't stop anybody. So,
well, at least he was honest about it.
He wasn't real happy with his defense.
Well, if you want to see a lot of offense, go see a Pierce County football game. You'll see Pierce County score a lot of points. You'll see the opposition score a lot of points this Friday night. If you don't want to go down to Camden and watch Camden take on Colquitt. All right, so we do appreciate that. One of our Pierce County listeners texting that in.
Yeah, 59-36 is the final Dodge over Pierce this past weekend.
Okay.
So
well, they didn't say that. They said you want to watch Pierce County score a lot of points.
Huh? 59.
Okay.
They gave up 55 to Baxley.
Yeah, you'll see a game with a lot of points, Bob.
That's true.
You'll see a game with a lot of points. Pierce County will score about 40-something, and the opposition, who knows?
I think the Colquitt Camden game would be the better game. I'll stick to that opinion. But personally, I'll be at Rhythm of the River. That's
right. We'll be at Rhythm of the River on
watching Second Chance Band perform down at J.C. Landing. So
that's right.
I won't be watching any football this weekend.
You got the J.C. Fair this week down there at the fairgrounds across from here on Highway 301 North. The fair will be going on all week long, and then as kind of in conjunction with those activities, you'll have Rhythm on the River, the second annual Rhythm on the River, this Friday night down there at the very base of J.C. Landing, right there next to the river. And the band will be set up there. It makes a great kind of Hollywood Bowl type thing with the hill up there on the side. And you look at the band, and you got the river behind them, and it'll be vendors there. So Rhythm on the River, be there this Friday night.
And congrats to University of Beaufort. They won another state title in girls softball this past weekend.
University of Beaufort.
I think that's like their 15th title. I think they won like 12 in a row or something like that. So
we recruit the best girls throughout the state at Beaufort.
Wayne County should have won that game. It would have been
it wouldn't have been great.
Won that game. Had to win the league going to the 5th, and they tied it 1-1, lost in the 7th, 2-1. So again, it's tough to get that losers bracket.
Oh yeah, because you got to play 3 games in one day.
It's just tough to do.
You got that disappointment of winning losing that first day, and you got 3 games. And once again, folks, there's a lot of folks out there who made comments and questions of why we did not carry any of those games. It's because a limited staff. Bob, we got one set of equipment that can go broadcast. It's a long way over to Columbus. Yes, maybe you could have done the game on whatever the first night was, but then you'd have had to come back that night or the next morning to get back here for the football game, which was already scheduled, contracted for, senior night and all that going on, and proceeding in the region playoff. We would have loved to have done it. Someone says to me, Butch, why didn't you go over and do it? I said, I've never called a baseball game in my life or softball game. I said, that would have been a comedy. She hit the ball. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. We would have loved to have done it. We looked at every angle. We looked at every possibility. We did everything that we could try to figure out on how to do that. It just didn't work out. And we really wish we could have been there. We kept that updated on our Facebook page and on our web page and stuff like that. But if they get into the state playoffs next year and make it to the top 8 in Columbus, we'll start planning way ahead on what we need to do, because we'd love to do it. But it always seems to be the weekend that we've got a game. It's a very important football game, which is already scheduled and contract for it and everything else. Mob cannot be everywhere. We've tried to clone them, but they still ain't quite got that technology yet.
Hard to be at 5 places at one time, that's for sure.
Okay, it says, someone just said in, I hate the way the bracket is predetermined, should be seeded before setting teams.
People have argued that. Georgia High School Association discussed that, but it's kind of like the football bracket. It's already predetermined where you're going to be, once you get in. So, but I agree. You got 8 teams. Why not seed them? But then who's going to seed them? Who's going to determine who's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? How do you do that? So,
yeah.
I don't know.
It's just one of those $64,000 questions. It's good in one way, and it's good the other way, and bad one way, and bad the other way. Well, Bob, we got to go. All right, have a good day. All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Parker Insurance and Realty on Macon Street, downtown Jessup, across from Heritage Bank, by Jessup Premium Storage, located out here on the Waycross Highway, by B&C Collision Center in Scriven, and also brought to you by Mike Butch Ford in Blackshear. 831, 105.5 FM in Jessup, Big Dog Country, WIFO. Let's check in the latest news from Fox News Radio.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. They haven't partied like this in Kansas City in 30 years. The Royals fans celebrating after their team won the World Series.
That's a shot into the gap in left center. Everybody takes off.
That broke it open in the 12th inning on Fox in a 7-2 win over the Mets in New York. The Royals rallied to tie the game in the 9th. All of Kansas City's World Series wins were comebacks.
And we always say, you feel like your family here.
Salvador Perez was the series MVP. Russia's president is calling Saturday's plane crash in Egypt an enormous tragedy, as 130 bodies and some body parts are flown back to Russia. 224 people were killed. Investigators don't yet know what brought the plane down in pieces, scattered for miles. The airline says it was not technical or pilot error, claiming some external impact caused it. They still haven't found the gunman in yesterday's shooting that left a student dead at Winston-Salem State University and another wounded.
We were driving onto campus and I seen people running and I heard the alarm sounding.
Classes will go on as scheduled today at the North Carolina school. All the Republican anger at CNBC over the last presidential debate has the candidates trying to make changes. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
The candidates have agreed to sidestep the Republican National Committee and create their own ground rules for debates. Ben Carson's campaign isn't ruling out holding debates that are not sanctioned by the RNC, telling ABC's This Week.
Come on, give me a break. We need to mature in the way that we do these debates if they're going to be useful to the American people.
Carson and other candidates contend the moderators of the CNBC debate were biased. GOP Chairman Reince Priebus has decided to suspend a partnership with NBC News and its properties in a debate set for February. Dave.
Regional Republican who once ran for president has died, but you might remember Fred Thompson better from movies or TV like Law & Order.
If I wanted a yes man, you'd have been out on your butt a long time ago.
Thompson was also a senator for 12 years and a lawyer at the Watergate hearings. Thompson was 73, suffered from recurrence of lymphoma. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
What do Fortune 500 companies do when they need to find new workspace? They call Regis and 1-800-OFFICES. With Regis, you can easily expand today and get your people up and running tomorrow. With fully furnished, tech-powered co-working spaces, offices, and admin support, Regis manages the details so you can focus on your business. Short-term, long-term, all on your terms. Regis makes it easy and affordable. Call Regis now at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Leader pharmacy.
In Europe's migrant crisis, Greece's Coast Guard has been dealing with more than 1,400 people rescued in 39 separate search operations over the weekend as people keep flowing in from Syria and other countries. The earth quaked in Arizona late last night, several times. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers details what happened live.
It quaked 3 times, Dave. The U.S. Geological Survey says they weren't that big, but they still rattled the central part of the state. The USGS recorded the magnitude 4.1, 4.0, and 3.2 quakes between 9 and 11:30 p.m. local time. They were felt in Phoenix as well as its suburbs, including Scottsdale and Glendale. No injuries reported, though, Dave.
Tanya, Chipotle says they plan to keep all 43 of their restaurants in Oregon and Washington state closed until health officials investigating an E. coli outbreak say it's safe to reopen. 22 people in the 2 states have been sickened, and they expect that number to grow. It was not a crowded weekend at movie theaters. The box office totals were the lowest for the year.
Top 3 money-making movies this Halloween weekend are a repeat of last week's. The Martian, Goosebumps, and Bridge of Spies occupying the same spots, earning $11, $10, and $8 million, respectively. The highest-grossing newcomer, starring Bradley Cooper.
3 years without a word. What do you want? I want to make my kitchen the best in the world.
Service. Hey, chef! Burnt, a drama about a chef, only cooked up about $5 million at the box office. Our Brand is Crisis, a political satire starring Sandra Bullock, debuted in 8th place with less than $3.5 million to show for it. Karen McHugh, Fox News.